Alrighty. Today, we're going to show you a basic S-weave. I know there's lots of videos out there on how to do the basic S-weave. But what we're going to do today is give you some tips on tension and how we might go about achieving good tension. So, I'm going to start with having a tension hook. Just comfortable. A tension hook is always useful, at least in my experience. I prefer to use my toe as a tension hook. Some folks will tie a piece of string to their ring and then clip, and then they'll clip it to something. Some folks use like a hook on the wall. I like to use my toes, and then just sort of sit cross-legged, and then eventually I get to a point where I'm wrapping this thing around my legs, and that helps me hold tension fairly well. So, usually we would set these up with a lark's head knot on the top today, and today we're not doing that because the rings are too small, and I need some more width out of them, so we've just got my cords cut in half and looped over the ring, and we're gonna rely on this first row to help us keep tension on the ring itself. So, first thing you'll notice is that there's top cords and bottom cords, and those top and bottom cords are going to switch all the time, and I will almost always put my finger between it. And I'm actually holding on to the bottom cords here with my first finger and my middle finger, and I do the same thing with both hands. Sometimes I swap sides. What I do is I take my hand, sort of like separate thumb, separate forefinger goes in the middle, and that's that. And what this allows me to do is to both increase my efficiency of movement, and it helps me create tension, because now I'm holding on with this middle finger, this forefinger, and this thumb here. And what I can do when I make this S-weave is it allows me the chance to sort of rotate my wrist, which gives me the opportunity to just drop cords instead of having to like very carefully pick them up. Okay, so the mechanics of the S-weave. It's a basic over-under, and what happens is you're going to start on one side, and you're going to weave all the way over to the other side, and continue restarting from that other side. This is a horizontal weave, which means that the pattern is going to travel horizontally as we're weaving down the piece. So, you can do this, you can start under over, you can start over under. Either way is fine. Just keep it consistent, because otherwise you're going to end up with some issues. So in order to do an over-under, I would take this bottom cord here, and you can do it from the other side if you like, if you prefer, if that works better for your hands. Give it a try. And I'm going to go over the next cord, under the next one. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And you'll notice that I am doing this rotating of the wrist thing to help me be able to track what my over-under motion is like. And I'm gonna put my finger in the shed there, this gap between the cords, give everything a tug, give this a tug, and I'm gonna swap hands again, and we're gonna repeat. And so we're gonna go over, under, 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 and you'll notice we're starting to lose some of our tension from the first row. That's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just tug that back. Just tug that back. And we're going to tug this second cord through. Put my fingers in the shed here right along that cord. I'm going to pull on the bottom cords. I'm going to pull on the top cords. And then we're going to pull these sides here. And what's important is that we have to manage tension both in the vertical direction, so like along the piece, and in the horizontal direction across the pattern. And you'll notice something that I do, I pull in this direction, pull this way, while also pushing with my finger or thumb in toward the weave itself. Now that I've got this first row, this is going to come underneath that last piece, because I went under with my second weft here. I went under that last one, so it needs to go over that, like so. And I'm just going to give that all a tug, make sure that's nice and snug. And generally you don't want to see gaps between cords here. You can over tighten, you don't need to tighten this to death, but you don't want to have gaps in there. So we're going to go ahead. Now I'm going to show you a trick. Oftentimes when I'm doing this, instead of going over, under, I'm actually going to just swap the rows and then put the cord through. So I'm going to take my bottom, my down goes to up goes down. This is where I'm able to just sort of let go of that cord and pull it down. And I'm lifting up the bottom cord, twisting, and dropping the next cord. Lift, drop, lift, drop, lift. And so now I can adjust my tension again. And that tension on that top row is going to settle as, and again, I'm pulling in this direction and pushing. I'm pulling along this cord here and pushing the rest of the weave internally here. And that top row is going to hold on for us just a second. So, now that I've got my cords swapped and my fingers in there holding the tension, I'm just going to take this first cord on the edge here and pass it through along where my finger is. And then pop that cord underneath. And there you have it. And there you go. There you go with your with your tension tricks. That's how I create some efficiency of motion and speed, and also tension keeping on an S weave. And I know I just did a whole motion here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this again full in live time, and then in the video here I'll slow this section down for you. Swap hands, thread through. Keep tension with an S weave. One other thing I like to do is to sort of, I'll pull a little further than I need to, and then I'll let the cord sort of release and come back to where it wants to be. I try to do a lot of sort of letting the cord set the tension. Like tell me sort of, I try to let the cord sort of show me where they need to be. And we just follow that. Sometimes I have to force cords to be at a certain tightness because I have constraints about what kind of, like how wide the ring is that it needs to go through. But usually I just try to let things sit how they will. And I like having the split of the top and bottom cords, because that allows me this opportunity to just sort of adjust the whole set all at once. There you go. Let me do sort of all of that one more time. Try to not hit the camera. Hit the camera legs in the meantime. You might actually be able to see the camera legs in that shot. I don't know. Well, so much for not hitting the camera.